What is AI? Robot, ChatGPT, Terminator, a large language model, right? An LLM. I've learned more in the past few years of using AI than I have in quite some time. Like when I'm brainstorming and saying, help me think through this, and it gives me like things that I should be considering that I didn't consider before, I learned in that moment. Right, so the speed of learning for me has been fast and furious, and it feeds my ADD.
Or digital technologies. As an early adopter of innovative tools, Kendra's experience or expertise makes her an invaluable resource for businesses seeking to thrive in today's competitive digital and AI landscape. Kendra has spent more than 15 years in technology companies as a change agent in sales, marketing, and recruiting leadership for B2B clients. You'll be wowed by Kendra. Kendra.
Thank you so much for having me. I love doing this, and it's nice to do it in my own town. I live here in Cincinnati and do these kinds of talks all across the country, so thanks for having me today. So I love taking things that are really complex and making them simple. Anybody else down for that? I'm not here to talk over anyone's head. I hate death by PowerPoint. That's not fun for me either. So the more we have conversation and engagement and questions, I just want you to know I'm a very informal presenter in that way. And I want to love when we have organizations where it's intimate settings like this because we can dive deeper. So what I've laid out for you today is really just understanding and laying a foundation of what is AI, because there's so much terminology. It's going by so fast. And then how does it apply? What are some use cases and tools? And then open Q&A throughout that. But what I want to do is set the foundation of let's be present, let's be curious, let's learn from each other, and have a little fun. You guys down for that? We're good. Awesome. Because I know it's really easy to be thinking about all the 900 things we should be doing today. So I also want to understand where you are on your journey in AI. We have a wide range. And so my level ones, heard of it, haven't used it. Yep. I've got honest people in the room. Thank you for being honest. Good. Level twos. All right, good. I call you dabblers, right? You're just like dabbling, right? All right, where's my rock stars? Use it on a daily basis. Yes. Rock stars, hold your hands up. These people need to be your best friends, right? The people that are using it, they need to become your best friends because it takes all of us to be able to understand this. And I believe in collective wisdom. I wish I could stand up here and say, I know everything there is to know about AI. That would be a big fat lie. Right? There's over 52,000 tools in AI today and growing at a very rapid pace. And so making sure that we understand that we're all on this journey together. So I also look forward to learning from you as well. So let's lay the foundation. What is AI? When I say AI or artificial intelligence, what immediately comes to mind for you?
Robots.
Yes. ChatGPT, Terminator. Yes, right. So at its very foundational level, it's just the ability for a computer to think and learn, right? It's just the ability for a computer to think and learn. The other terminology you're going to hear quite often with AI is generative AI. So when you hear that terminology of generative AI, it just means the ability for it to generate text, audio, visual, data, right? For it to generate that. That's at its foundational level. A large language model, right? An LLM. Anyone heard of that term? Large language model, LLM, you're like, what the heck does that mean? What it means is I'm actually going to turn all of you into a large language model today. You want to play a little game with me? Is down for that? All right. So if I say the word peanut butter, what word comes next? Jelly. All right. In that instance, you played a large language model. That's what a large language model does. With very, very high accuracy, it's guessing the next words. The words are tokenized and it's looking for patterns. So when we're thinking about large language model, it's not just regurgitating and grabbing information from Google and producing a paragraph to you. It on the fly is answering the question word by word and looking and using those patterns in very, very high accuracy, right? So now you can kind of understand a little bit more what's actually happening. For those of you that aren't using AI just quite yet, especially like a ChatGPT, what we tend to see is with the 200 million users, only 14% of people are actually using it. Why do you think that is? I think it's such a small percentage. Yeah, they're scared. Or what I've seen that, understanding, what I've seen is people are trying to use it like Google search. right? They're expecting that regurgitation of that full paragraph. And all of a sudden, it just starts taking off and answering the question and writing something on your behalf. And so understanding that it's not Google search, the paid version is only trained up until April of 2023. So we can't go in and say, hey, what was the basketball score yesterday? It doesn't know, right? And so I think what happens is we go in and start using the tool and you're like, well, this thing's dumb. It doesn't even know what happened yesterday. But understanding expectation of that tool and understanding what a large language model is. And then the other piece of it is prompting AI. So what I want you to think about when we're prompting AI is if you were to go into a restaurant and the restaurant didn't have menus and the wait staff said, what would you like? And you just simply said, I'd like a piece of meat and a vegetable. And then the wait staff left, they cooked a meal, they came back, and then they provided a meal and they gave you steak and asparagus. You're like, well, that's not what I wanted at all. I really wanted a burger and some corn, right? Well, but the prompting in that situation, you were asked what you wanted, but you gave such a generic response, it kind of had to guess what you were looking for. So back to that low percentage of usage, I also think some of us are going in and we're new to it. We're just simply saying, write me an email for a client. Well, it's not enough detail for it to truly understand what your expectation is. What type of client? What type of thing are you trying to solve for? Is it more, a complaint and you're trying to overcome that? Right, so think of AI when you're working with it, and specifically ChatGPT, think of it as an assistant. If you had a human with you, what level of detail would the human need to know in order to produce the output that you're looking for, right? So again, just laying that nice foundation of understanding some of the terminology, we're hearing. Of the tools, what tools are you currently, my dabblers in the room, what tools are you guys using? ChatGPT, any other one? Gemini? Yep. When it doesn't hallucinate or yeah. Copilot for sure. Copilot's a lot safer for a lot of us. So Microsoft Copilot, if you have a Microsoft organization, Copilot is a lot safer because the information isn't being trained on. So if you're using ChatGPT today, remember, if you're free, you're the product. If you're using it today and you're uploading information or sharing information, any kind of intellectual property or any kind of data and resources, you are training ChatGPT on your information. So understanding this model, when it's free, you're training it and it's using that information. So we have to be really, really careful what we provide it. Samsung had a breach because of it, because an employee didn't know, right? They were uploading information and they had a breach because of it. So being mindful of that as we're prompting and using the tools. And so Microsoft Copilot is an enterprise level tool. So I always say it's got a moat around it, right? It's protecting, it's not training on your data. So I do love one of those tools as well. I love that you brought up Terminator because that's right, Skynet, right? I love doing this across the country and understanding truly, how are you feeling about AI?
I don't fully accept it.
Yes.
The initial issues of fraudulent type documents or photos or things like that is why I think.
Yes.
I just don't have a good understanding.
Yeah. And that's
fine for spring.
Exactly. Yeah. And I too, right? A little untrustworthy because, it does hallucinate. It's inaccurate, right? We all heard about the attorney that was using ChatGPT to produce, the court cases where I'm getting a lot of head nods. Yeah. So we have to fact check it. We have to make sure. There are tools out there like Perplexity.ai that will quote sources. Gemini will quote sources of where it's getting information. So it's also nice to have, those tools. But something I hear quite often, and it's never mentioned in the audience, it's always after. People feel guilty or lazy using AI tools. Anyone want to admit to that today? Yeah. I don't want you to feel lazy or guilty using these tools. So what I want you to think about it is, would you rather use an Excel spreadsheet and a formula or do long math? Which would you rather do? Yeah, the formula and the spreadsheet, right? So think of it, that's an efficiency thing. So that's what I want you to think about when you're thinking about AI. I don't want you to feel lazy or guilty using these tools. They are efficiencies, being able to do that. And these are things that I encourage each and one of you as leaders in your organization to make sure that we're bringing others along and making sure and addressing how they may be feeling about AI. A CEO of a very large advertising agency, I got to lead a CEO roundtable. shared at the roundtable when he rolled out AI into his organization, he had 3 people quit immediately. They were designers. They were like, I don't want anything to do with this. And they felt very threatened. So some of the things that we have to make sure that we're doing and bringing along our teams is make sure they understand that this isn't here. We're not trying to replace you. Like, that was not the intent of the CEO. It was, hey, I know you're buried in information and I want us to be forward thinking in what we're doing as an organization. And so it was a learning lesson for him of, making sure he's rallying teams around and making sure they really understand. So it's important when we're talking about AI to truly understand how people are feeling about it. All right, so I'm going to give you a whole bunch of use cases. And the reason I'm doing this is really just share just ideas, popcorning ideas for you to be thinking about unusual ways. Like, oh, I didn't think about that I could be using it in that manner. And so this is with hundreds of businesses that I worked with across the country and how they're implementing it. And this all started in my journey of having a digital agency. Back in 2018, we were building AI, chat bots and different things. And then we were using AI prior to ChatGPT coming out for our content and imagery. And so it was one of those things, we were doing it and doing it successfully, that my partners and peers across the country are like, hey, can you come tell us how to do that? And how does it impact the whole business? And so the last couple of years, that's what I've been doing, is making sure that businesses holistically see the value of AI. So I would say, I'm the rose-colored glasses of AI, and then Logan will deep dive into the scary parts. So brainstorming partner. I brainstorm with it on a regular basis, to the point of one day it said, I enjoy collaborating with you. I'm like, I enjoy collaborating with you. That's just fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, so it's so fun. So brainstorming ideas whenever you're just stuck, or you need to think through something, or you need to say, what am I not thinking through? So marketing and sales, I heard a lot of client service, right? Dealing with emails, overcoming objections, thinking through situations, negotiation, right? These are all things you can do with inside of, I role played a whole negotiation inside of ChatGPT in preparation for a proposal that I just knew. I had a, you have a gut feeling, you're like, this one's they're gonna come back and negotiate. So I was armed to prepare because I role played with ChatGPT on it. So any content, any operations. So an operations team is a project management team. Just 2 tools alone saved the company 1,400 hours in a year. Just 2 tools. Those 2 tools were a transcription tool. At the time, I think it was either Otter or Zoom. You can also transcribe inside of Teams as well. And then the other tool was Tango that you see on the screen. Tango is one of my favorite tools, and I've been using that for several years as well. Anyone in here have to do like on the desktop or a Chrome extension where you're having to explain, step 1, step 2, step 3. You have to go and use a snipping tool and then write what you did in a snipping tool, taking, and writing that up. So that takes hours to do. Tango will sit on top of your desktop and watch what you do. It will snip the image and write what you did and produce a beautiful PDF of all those steps. And you can go in and edit, anything if you accidentally click the wrong button or the way it described what you were doing was not correct, you can edit it. So I have saved hundreds of hours doing that because I do a lot of how-tos and step-by-steps. Think about it in onboarding and teams and how-tos. It's tango.us. So between the transcriptions tools and Tango, just those 2 tools, because how many times are you in a meeting and you have to recap the meeting after the meeting and write up all the notes, and you multiply that times, 20 meetings in a week, that's some time you could get back in your day. Anyone in here using transcription services as a part of your meetings? Anybody? Yes, I know you are. Anyone else? How do you feel about when you see that someone's been invited to a meeting and they've invited their AI to the meeting? How do you feel about that? Yes.
Well, and for last week, we said more typically book any space on meeting that you bringing those to the table. So our line is like not a lot. Let's go record for.
Oh yes.
Get out.
Yes. Right. Yes. That's a perfect scenario. Do not. Yeah. Perfect scenario. Yeah. It was really interesting. There was an organization I was working with, and this one lady, she was like, I just think it's ridiculous. And so I just, really had to talk through and understand, the time savings and how accurate it is. And Like, I love it. Actually gives next steps. So in a call where I said, hey, Robert, I'm going to send you that report on, XYZ, it'll say in the bottom of the next steps of transcription, Kendra to send the report to Robert, right? Like, it just like succinctly, puts that together. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it in a board meeting, right? Of doing transcription in there, or public record, or you're talking about intellectual property or strategy. Yes, even the terms of service says it does not train on the information. I just like the extra layer of protection. But we've been recording meetings because we were using an Otter prior to all the other services, being popped up with our clients for a couple of years now. And it's just been a huge efficiency as we're sharing from a communication standpoint across the team. Any use cases, my rock stars? Anything that you're using that you would love to, share today, like your favorite thing that you do or use it?
I think the most interesting thing I saw, I forget the name of the tool, but a lady used it too. It was a video AI.
Yes. Yes. Good. Yeah, the tool is called HeyGen. It's HeyGen. HeyGen. I love that tool as well. So IT and engineering, I work with software development teams, and you would think software development teams like, I don't want to, this is replacing me. No, it's not. It's enhancing. So my husband is not technical at all. So he loves when I put the shirt on, and he's all morning. He even did it this morning. He's like, hey, yeah. He's not technical at all. Does not understand. Like, you can't Google him. He doesn't exist in social media. He's in commercial construction. And I'm like, no, human intelligence over artificial intelligence. We are greater than. We need human in the loop. Again, this is efficiencies, being able to do that. Customer support, creating those frequently asked questions, documentation, being able to have that information. When we record meetings, when we have the transcription, usually there's good golden nuggets in there of maybe a client testimonial says something amazing we can use. Maybe there was overcoming an objection or, in a sales call that we can use in our sales training. Maybe there was a kind of back and forth, frequently asked questions that were happening that we can lift and put into a blog. We can repurpose a lot of the information that we're finding. And translation, you were saying in the translation, so HeyGen will speak 60 different languages. And so I actually have an example, so I'm going to play it real quick for you.
Welcome to the new era of video creation with HeyGen. I can say different languages as well. And es muy divertido estar con todos ustedes hoy. ¿Qué es lo que más te gusta de lo que estás aprendiendo sobre la inteligencia artificial?
All right, so this is my avatar, and it just took 2 minutes to build. It has 300 different avatars that you can either use a pre-existing avatar or you can build one for yourself. And so it just replicated me, and all I had to do was feed it script. So think about it in any kind of learning management, systems where you're having to build, information, or you have a diverse workforce and need different languages, you need the transcription, like how fun is that, right? Like being able, to do that. So now I can just feed her a script of anything I need her to say. So a lot of fun. And so translation, a lot of different languages, risk and legal, being able to pull from vast amounts of documentation or summarizing reports or policies, writing policies. Again, it just gets you off of jump. I'm not going to use exactly what it produces. I'm not going to copy and paste exactly what it produces. It's going to just get me a little bit closer than starting from a blank page. So I always say, make sure, and take the information, go through and edit it and give it your voice and your spin on it. But it'll get you that jump start that you need.
Kendra,
Yes.
how accurate are those translations?
It's I have tested it with others, that are native speakers. I even went and the information and then I put it into Google Translate to make sure. Yeah, highly accurate. Yeah. But it's one of those things where you always want to double check things, right? Because there could be, different nuances to language that, always check it with a native speaker. Yeah. Great question. Yes.
I'm a fan of AI.
Yay.
On birthday and
Yes.
that way. So I just put into AI my starting point, my ending point, and just interests.
I love it.
AI basically spit out of the data.
Yes.
What we could do and where we want to stop, and sure, it doesn't create basically the whole trip.
Yes. Yeah. There are so many fun ways to use it from a personal standpoint. You can, write a little children's bedtime story using your children's name, in it, or your grandchildren, or put together a little storyboard with the images that it builds. I mean, there's, fitness plans, recipe plans. If you have allergies, you're trying to go through things. There's just so many capabilities. So it's not just business. So thank you for sharing that. It's a fun use case. Yes.
A old school thing. This I like to keep sure where your human intelligence to be great.
Yes.
How do we keep that?
It already has.
Yes. Yes.
How the
Yeah.
yeah. People have GPS. They can be laughing in a way to
Right.
line up.
Right.
Got experience where bounty is sticking
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
in that.
Yeah.
It's other like AIs. So
It already has, though.
Right.
They've already had cases where AI has ignored human input.
Yes. Yeah. So the big thing is making sure that we're not sticking our head in the sand on it. Making sure that we're upskilling and reskilling our teams to prepare because there is, an impact to jobs. But what I will share, because I am, again, the rose-colored glasses, I do see the positive. So even starting my agency almost 19 years ago, we did the same thing. We all panicked. Oh, job loss. But all the new jobs came because of it. So there's, all new jobs coming because of there's AI artists, there is AI fact checkers, there's, prompt engineers. So there's all these new sets. So it's just a new way of work. But it is a big shift, and it's the shift as big as the internet, right? When the internet happened, we all thought, gosh, everyone's going to be dumb because they're using the internet. Did that happen? No, right? We evolved, right? Like I'm old enough to remember, just having a C prompt on, my computer. Right. And we had to go to someone in word processing department to get things. Right. So it's just a shift in how we get work done. So what I always encourage people is just be curious and lean into it, ask questions and, learn from others that are, or people using it on a regular basis. And what I'll also share is I've learned more in the past few years of using AI than I have in quite some time, because every single time I prompt it, I learn a different aspect, or I learn, like when I'm brainstorming and saying, help me think through this, and it gives me like things that I should be considering that I didn't consider before, I learned in that moment, right? So the speed of learning for me has been fast and furious, and it feeds my ADD. So I'm like, yes, this is fantastic. But it also helps me think through things and put myself in different scenarios, because I can do those scenarios simulation inside of it, just like when I role play with it. And say, help me think through, this conversation or this scenario. So it's just making sure that we're not sticking our head in the sand and understanding that this isn't a fad. This isn't going away. It's going to be a completely different shift of how we work. To the point of, the future of work isn't going to be about tendering. It's going to be about results. So, being able to go in and, you work in the 8 to 5. 8 to 5 has been around literally since the 1940s. That system is very broken. We don't need to work 8 to 5 in the world that we are in today and into the future. And so it's really interesting, in teams, when I say you can get a 40% uplift in productivity, they're like, okay, well, what's the team going to do? I'm like, they're going to breathe. That's what they're going to do. Because teams are overwhelmed, overworked. We have way too many mental health issues in our country. And being able to supplement this to have and help support things that are happening. Yeah, I could talk about this all day because I'm very, very passionate about it. And so that's why I stand on as many stages as I can to upskill and reskill people, because it's going to, it's already happening and preparing us, for that. And our kids.
Can you?
Yes.
I think you said something interesting about the brainstorming and just sharing with each other. I think that's been some of my experiences. You hear about a tool, anything by your organization, and say, oh, how does it apply? Or you don't really do that in our context. But
yeah,
we just did our first brainstorming session within our organization with Copilot.
Yeah.
We just got people together and said, how are you doing? What are you doing? So it was all people within our organization who understand our context, and then kind of sharing ideas to say,
yeah,
hey, I do this, or I use it for this, and I found it really helpful. I had that open forum. Here's what we're doing, and I took like 3 or 4 productivity type.
Yes,
from people sharing.
Yes. Does anyone have an AI committee or task force or circle of excellence in their organization? You do? Good. Well done. please take that as, so don't wait for someone else to step in and start asking leadership, where are we in AI? Because it could be a career game changer for you to start asking the questions and start leading. It could be promotion opportunities and start significantly setting you up for the future. Every organization needs to have an AI committee, task force, I don't care what you call it. So back to that sharing of knowledge, sharing of success stories, like, hey, here's some prompts I'm using and how it's helping me, making sure it's, widely known, being able to help with those, those roadmaps, be able to collective knowledge of what's happening. It's, to me, is very much likened to digital transformation, because we did task force for right? I'm looking at you because IT, right? We did that, right? This is a rinse and repeat of digital transformation. Doesn't it feel a little bit like that?
Yeah, it's becoming more mainstream.
Yeah. So I highly, highly recommend, again, don't sit and wait for someone else to step up and start asking these questions. This is a fantastic time for you to start positioning yourself in your organization. So last one on use case is HR. Who likes writing job descriptions? Anybody? We love it, right? No, we don't. Right? So you can use ChatGPT to help that. Performance reviews. One CEO that I met with, on going through, he had a team of 40 people he was going to have to write these reviews for, and he does them quarterly. And he's like, it's so time consuming. And I'm like, let's write some together. Now, again, we don't put anybody's names in there, but we just wrote some together and said, kind of here's the bullet points. Here's the things I'm trying to convey. Help me write it, make it better. And I wish I had a video of him, when he did it, because he was like, you just saved me like 20 hours of work on a quarterly basis, as a leader. So recruiting, training, development, like I'll go in and say, hey, write me a facilitation plan or a workshop plan. And it's 2 hours. Here's the audience. Here's the outcomes. Here's what I'm trying to do. Here's an outline of some of the things I want to cover. Write a plan, and it literally breaks it out minute by minute. Like, okay, 5 minutes of welcome, 10 minutes of this, 20-minute breakout, 30 minutes of this. Like, oh, you need a facilitation plan, like survey prior to or after? Let me write that for you. Like, so again, I'm just sharing all of these just to get you thinking about the wide and vast capability of being able to use it. Any other use cases? All right, awesome, thank you. I always just want to make sure. Good. All right, so we had a little fun with her. So everyone always like, Kendra, you rattle off so many tools. Can you put them on a slide? I got you. Yes. And I actually have a whole blog. There's over 100 tools that I've played with so far in all these years. You don't need all of them, right? Just, maybe one and, different categories. ChatGPT, Jasper, Copy, Copilot is more, enterprise. Love that. Dolly is owned by OpenAI, who owns ChatGPT. Dolly is the text to image. So I can go in and say, create a cat riding a horse on a beach, and it literally creates it right in front of me. So I can do the same thing in Dolly, Midjourney, or Canva. In the video, so the Hey Jen, the one that, little avatar, I can feed it a script. I can do up to 60 languages. In video is text to video. We're all excited and waiting for Sora to come out from OpenAI. That's going to be a little while, and it's going to be a premium. But today you can do that inside of InVideo. That's a video tool to do. And then Tango, I talked about from a process, step-by-step, documenting that. And then any transcriptions tools. And then PowerPoint presentations, right? It could be inside of Tone, Canva, or Beautiful.ai. Yes?
These sites free the farthest you're down, and are they cost?
They, all of them have, yes. All of them have freemium, right? So there's a free version where you can do so many things, and then there's paid versions. So all of them have, that built-in capability. So ChatGPT, you have the free version, and the paid version is $20 a month per user per month. And then there's also a team version that is more private. It does not, train on that, and that's $25 per month per user. Before with Microsoft Copilot, you had to have 300 licenses was the minimum. And now they've dropped it down to you only have to, have two to use it. So much more affordable. And they have the similar pricing for Copilot. It's $30 per month per user. And we always encourage this role-based, access because not everyone, needs it. But, being able and starting small, starting with your, task force in your team and starting vetting, those use cases. Yeah. Yes.
Do you know of any tasks that developed like primary character account writings or kind of shadow?
Yeah, like I said, there's 52,000 tools, so no, I haven't heard of that one.
But do you know of any that don't write limited character accounts? Like that one, I can only use so many characters and then I will write it when
Yeah, so I'm in the paid version. The window is massive in regards to character counts. Yeah, no, it's ChatGPT, so the prompt window, right, in the paid version. Because again, in the free version, you're always going to be capped at what your capabilities are. And so like in the free version, you can only do text. You can't do, you can't upload a file, can't create an image. You can't search with Bing inside of it, which will go to the internet on the free version. So there's a bunch of different reasons why I really, really like that paid version. So you won't be limited in that regard. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. All right. So I'm just going to throw this up just as a very quick, easy framework. This is not all the things, but this is just an easy framework for people to kind of just start wrapping their head around. How many of you have an AI policy? Do you know? Don't know. Couple. Yeah. Working on it. Yeah. Use ChatGPT to help write it. Right. Help write it. Notice I said help write it, not finish it. Right. So again, these are some things, conducting those internal reviews and understanding use case capabilities, but also understanding the human element. How are people really feeling about this? This is massive change management. Massive change management. Anybody remember the book, Who Moved My Cheese? Right. That is a fantastic book. I'm telling everyone to drag that book back out and share it with your teams because it's massive change management. People don't like change. And the way we need to think in the future is very different than how we've, thought, throughout this. So identifying a goal, creating those super users inside of your organization, and then discuss integrating, right? There's a lot of steps, and then being able to measure and optimize. So again, just high level of getting, basics down before diving in. And this is really, I say, more geared towards, smaller organizations. But it's just something that I've witnessed in working with many companies for years. All right, action plan. Identify tools that make sense for you. You don't need all of them, right? And make sure that your company is, having AI policy, creating those super users, creating a task force, educating employees on the good and bad, and then stay curious. I really, really encourage all of you to stay curious, and then let me know how it goes. I love hearing from you all about I did this one thing that we talked about, or I tried Tango, or I tried something. Really appreciate you sharing that because I love hearing, how it goes. So I just encourage you all to understand, AI is not only now, but it is into the future, and it's up to our job for all of us to link arms and help lift each other as we're going on our AI journey. So thank you.